from the City of Angels. I love Deza. I've played a lot of Deza tracks. I'm going to keep playing Deza tracks. I don't know where the dude went, but he's got two wicked LPs that I can't recommend highly enough. You have to seek his music out, support this dude. He's Canadian, and we need him back. He's MIA. This is Close Your Eyes from like 4 years ago now. But I just was like, damn, this song kicks on this Sunday night. We are in a good mood. GLICKED did its business. It was solid. It's not Barbenheimer business, but still, it's not bad. And theaters needed it, man. Theaters needed the big infusion of cash. And they got it, and it's going to get even better coming up next weekend with Moana 2 coming in. Get ready. I'm going to turn down my track, and we're going to rock it here tonight. As always, live from the City of Angels here Sunday night. It is the Sunday Evening Spectacular, and away we go as we talk about, let's start with box office. Now, typically we reserve that for the Sunday morning show, Breaking Box Office, because it is a bigger story. Let's get into that tonight because it was a big savior for cinema as it slayed for theaters. Now, listen, it's not as big as we saw with Barbenheimer, as I mentioned on the intro there, as we look at the number 114 million for Wicked, Gladiator II, 55.5. That means combined is 169.5. That's good, right? I mean, hell yeah. It's a lot better than we've seen recently. I mean, Beetlejuice, the last film to go over 100. And then, of course, you have to go back to Deadpool Wolverine for a film that totally crushed, along with Inside Out 2, over $1 billion. So I think we're really well set up here for the next couple of weeks, certainly into Thanksgiving, Moana 2 coming in. And then, of course, around the corner is the Christmas corridor. Now, combined here is way off of Barbenheimer. That was 244.5 million. So that means net loss of 75 million, right? The difference between Barbenheimer and GLICKED. But still, there's time, and theaters, AMC, Regal, Cinemark, wherever you go, they should be stoked because finally we have that juice back in the marketplace. So that's great news. And hopefully you went out and supported one of these films. I definitely recommend Wicked over Gladiator 2, which I would never have said if you asked me a few weeks ago. I'd be like, hell no, I don't even want to see Wicked. And then I watched Gladiator 2 and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to fall asleep. I told you the lady next to me was asleep 15 minutes in. They were snoring. The lady like 2 seats over snoring. I'm like, holy shit, it's not good, but man, you fell asleep. Wicked, conversely, has issues. We talked about it. Go back to the reaction stream from Thursday night. I go through the things that work and don't. That's what the MMT evaluation is for. By the way, tonight, MMT evaluation live of both Flow, a new animated film that's in very limited release, and The Apprentice. I finally watched it. I have a lot of things to say about that coming up, but I do want to go back to Thursday night to remind everybody who is the gold standard. You know it. MMT is the gold standard. Listen to the call from Thursday night. What did I say Wicked would make this weekend? I could. Listen, let me give you my number. I'm going to give it at 115, but I'm putting the arrow up. 115. That means I was off by $1 million. That's pretty good. Nobody's better, man. Ain't nobody better than MMT. Every single time I got to keep reminding you guys, for those who still doubt, I don't know why you do, but if you want to still play that game, I can continue to hammer you with the reality that we're deadly accurate across the board no matter what we do. Okay, that's just what we excel at. We excel at being excellent. I can't change that. It's my burden in life. So please just admit it and move on. But listen, I mean, I think that this film can go higher than 114 because remember, on Sunday, you get that estimate, right? Universal says, here's what we think Sunday's going to be. And then it ends up being bigger. Typically, it's bigger. Rarely does it go lower. It happens. Red 1 went lower. But I have a feeling this is going to bump up. So we'll be maybe at 115 or maybe even higher after we get the actual number tomorrow morning from Universal. Here's something I want to bring up, and I didn't really mention this too much during the MMT evaluation from the other night, but why is Wicked washed out, right? And I know if you've seen the movie, you're asking yourself, why isn't everything saturated to the hilt? Because in a film like Wicked, you really want to just crank that color and really, again, saturate the screen so that you get that effect that you spent so much time building these sets. I mean, the production design was the number one takeaway for Wicked. If you can't at least give this film that, then you're not being honest and we can't trust you. And also, you're not very good. You have to recognize the things that any given film does well, the skills it excels in, and then you say there's something we're going to prop up and we can push for an award. And certainly production design is one of those, but the colors are a little bit washed out. And I was curious. I know a lot of people noticed it because it's right there for you. I mean, even when you look at those lens flares from the movie, right? Typically blue, a lens flare, you've got the pink and green lens flare, and they're not even as fluorescent and as vibrant as they should be. So I go to John Chu and he has this for you and me, and let's at least explore it and figure out if it makes sense. He says that the Wicked color grading aims to paint a real place to immerse viewers into Oz. It's not plastic. I mean, there's color all over it. I think that's what we want to do, is immerse people into Oz and make it a real place, Chu said, because if it were a fake place, if it was a dream in someone's mind, then the real relationships and the stakes that these two girls are going through wouldn't feel real. I don't agree with that at all. I understand what he's saying. All right, we get it, but I do not agree. Okay, he continues. It also presented a way we have not experienced Oz before. It's been a matte painting. It's been a video game digital world. But for us, I want to feel the dirt. I want to feel the wear and tear of it. And that means it's not plastic. Listen, I understand his reasoning, and he's certainly giving us at least an answer to why. I don't agree with the decision. I would definitely crank the saturation on this. And Ridley Scott is an abysmal director. You know I believe that. You know I'm going to support that after watching Gladiator II. Retire Ridley. It's over. Oh, my bad. It's over. It's done because he lost the fastball and every other pitch he had. Gladiator 2 is very unremarkably directed. You have to see these things, guys. I cannot help you. Either you see them and you recognize them and you're aware and you're gifted, or you're not. Okay? It's funny, when I was watching The Apprentice, if you haven't seen it, you really should. Okay, it's coming to, I think, wide VOD soon. Right now, it's like $20 on VOD. I want to give some props to Briarcliff for sending me the link because I missed it in theaters. I just didn't get around to it. But Trump at the end talks about you either have the gift or you don't. I'm like, damn, man, I do sound a little bit like Trump. Oh my God. Where are my haters out there? Weber's the far right-wing Trumpian. We hate him. But he's fair and he's objective. We don't care. Gladiator 2's fucking painful. Shocked you call it mid. Pointless remake of a top-tier Best Picture winner. Luis, I was a little kind. I mean, I gave it 55%. That's still a D minus F in my book. But I did not give it like a 5. It's boring, man. It's not good. Remember our boy Soup's like, it's the best movie ever. It's so great. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? The best movie ever? God almighty, Soups. Someone punch him in the face for me. You know, literally, go back to Tropic Thunder. I'm Les Grossman. That's me. I'm telling you, someone go out there and punch him in the face. Punch that key grip right in the face. God, that kid. I'm not asking for you to incite violence. I'm not inciting. Listen, don't. I'm just, it's all fun and games, okay? But I thought Wicked would make more. Sadvik, it still has plenty of time. I think the other thing that you have to talk about here, and we'll get into Watts. I want to talk about Watts and Wolves. That's coming up. Watts, the director, hammered Apple, and I'm going to show you the quote. We'll talk about that in 1 second, along with The Apprentice and Flow and all of your comments here on the Sunday night. The big show's underway. But here's the thing about Wicked, right? So it opens at 114. That's the number that we get. But remember, it can go higher based on Sunday. Also, one thing you got to keep in mind, and this happened with Avatar 2, even though I do not like Avatar, I don't want to see another Avatar. In fact, you almost have to pay me to watch another Avatar. What happened with that film is it didn't do as big a number on that opening weekend, and then it started to build because Christmas corridor, right? Well, here you've got the Thanksgiving corridor. A lot of kids have school off for the entire week. That means you've got a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all acting like a weekend day. Therefore, Wicked is going to do crazy numbers every day this week. You just watch. So why is that important? And to your point, Sodvik, about it doing a lower number, people waited and they'll go see it this week. So some of the cash that's out there that should have been in this weekend will be in the next several days. This is what you get from no one else. That's why MMT is, help me out. Let me find the lower third one more time. The gold standard. I should just have it like up the entire time to remind everybody we're the gold standard. No one does it better, but it is time. Let's continue to roll into this. Watts ripping Apple. John Watts, director of Wolves, which I never watched, or Wolves. Sorry. I apologize for not getting that totally right. This is the George Clooney, Brad Pitt film that did not look very good. And I've heard it's really bad. But I would have seen it in theaters, but Apple said, no, we're not even going to do that. They're kind of getting out of this. And that's the thing, is why we have to applaud Amazon for Red One, because even though they're losing their ass, okay, and they're hopefully going to continue doing theatrical, Apple is like, we're done. So here's what he had to say about the whole Wolves not going theatrical. I showed Apple my final cut of Wolves this year early. Watts told Deadline. They were extremely enthusiastic about it and immediately commissioned me to start writing a sequel. Okay. But their last minute shift from a promised wide theatrical release to a streaming release was a total surprise and made without any explanation or discussion. A lot like what we saw with Lyman and the remake of Roadhouse with Amazon, right? So these streamers are now like, well, we're losing our ass, so maybe we just will not put it in theaters. Remember, it costs money to advertise to put movies in theaters. In a weird way, though, think about this. Did Terrifier 3 have ads all over the place? No. It's not like you have to blanket the city in bus stops and billboards here in LA. That's all we get. And all that stuff for a movie to succeed. People are pretty much aware of what's happening. Or if you're an AMC A-list or a Regal Unlimited member, you just get your app out and you look and see what's there and you go, oh, I'll go see Clooney and Pitt in some kind of goofy gangster hitman thing. So that I don't put as much stock into dumping hundreds of millions of dollars into P&A spends. I think you can get it done, as Terrifier 3 shows you, without that. Now, I understand that is the rare bird, right? Very, okay? That's not the normal situation with Terrifier 3. But I'm telling you, I don't think you have to dump that much money in. But let's continue here, okay? I wasn't even told about it until less than a week before they announced it to the world. I was completely shocked and asked them to please not include the news that I was writing a sequel. They ignored my request and announced it in their press release anyway, seemingly to create a positive spin to their streaming pivot. So I quietly returned the money they gave me for the sequel. Damn, man. Listen, if John, if you're out there watching MMT, you're more than welcome to reach out to me on Twitter and come on and we'll talk. Because I'm not going to hold back. Guys, who would do this interview better than me? Nobody. I would dig in hard, especially if it was a Netflix hammer job. I would really dig in. I would still be a journalist because ultimately that's what I am. See, I'm objective, even though I just said the Trump movie isn't that bad. Oh my God. How do you exist in Hollywood like that with that attitude? So I quietly returned the money and they gave me for the sequel. I didn't want to talk about it because I was proud of the film and I didn't want to generate unnecessary negative press. I love working with Brad and George and others and would happily do it again. But the truth is, Apple didn't cancel the Wolves sequel. I did because I no longer trusted them as a creative partner. Ouch. But, listen, if you're a director, and Emotional will get to that comment in a second. If you're a director and you have your film that you made and you want to see it in theaters, which I would, one day if I ever direct a movie, we wrote the movie. By the way, can I tell you something just real quick? It's going to be very simple. I'm not going to say anything more than this. We were able to get our script into the hands of the person that we want to play the lead. How crazy is that? Just stop for a second, guys. For those of you who doubt the power of MMT and want to bash the EW 24/7, let me explain something. None of you could get the script into the actual hands of the person that you want to be in the movie. So don't question the power of MMT. If you do, you're dumb. You're certainly mistaken. You're clueless, you're erroneous, and you have an agenda. So back to this. So if you're a director and you want to make this your film and have it in theaters because you, like me, love the theatrical experience, and all of a sudden Apple's like, nah, we're not going to do it. You're going to be pissed because you were promised one thing and then given another. Hollywood is notorious for a bunch of bullshit like that, right? Do not trust anybody. Okay. Even I have some worries, right? Let me be honest with you. When we wrote the script, it's so good. I'm afraid someone might actually lift some of it. I'm not kidding you guys. Remember that whole thing with the holdovers? I'm just telling you, don't put anything past anybody. So as I say that, Apple says one thing and they do another. And Animotion points out here, Apple hid the mid Steve McQueen war drama Blitz from most theaters. I couldn't see it. I didn't see it. I know it's available now. I know it's one of their, if not their number one awards film. I love Steve McQueen. I love Widows. I think Widows from a direction standpoint is fire. Screenplay, not as much. But Steve McQueen, the director, is very good. And I want to watch his film. So I probably will watch Blitz at some point. But it wasn't at AMC. I believe it played at Lemley here, which is our little, independent cinema where Netflix shows theirs. And, frankly, it's a pain to go to. If it's not AMC, I'm not going. I'm done driving around, even to Glendale. I'm like, that's too far. North Hollywood, it's close, but it's still too far. I'm going to AMC. So it wasn't there. So Apple is doing a two-faced thing. Welcome to Hollywood. And it's a wild story. But what it comes down to is what we've talked about forever here on MMT. What did we say? We were the first people to say Netflix is completely and utterly the bad guy for not giving you movies at AMC, Regal, Cinemark, the major chains. So now you're seeing directors take the mantra that MMT started, which is theatrical is everything, and they are now giving it back to the studios. And we started that. I don't care if you say we're niche. I don't care if you say that we're not Chris Stuckman in views, or thank God we're not Grace Randolph. We have more power than those people. And I just said exactly to prove my point what I said when I talked about the script. Guys, you don't understand. I'm not the kind of fucking person who makes shit up. My life, if I say it happened, it fucking happened. I don't have time to make shit up. Okay. The reality is that a lot of the stuff I talk about, I actually undersell. I don't even go as hard as I could. So just trust me when I tell you these things. Gone Girl, by the way, calling the shots here tonight on the comments. Give him a like for that, and he will go through them. And if he sees something good, he'll pull it up. Can't directors have some type of theatrical deal in their contract when they work with the studio? I think Lyman had one. I want to say probably Wolves did too. I bet there's always a way out, right? Any contract, there's always an escape clause, especially for the studio. They have the big bad lawyer, right? So they're going to be able to figure out a way to get out of that and say, hey, we paid you. Ultimately, you want a theatrical, but we're not going to give it to you. And you have to be happy with the fact that you just got your movie made and we paid you millions of dollars to direct it. So go away and cry with your cash. And I think that's probably what's happening here. I think ultimately, that's going to be the result of any negotiation is going to be won by the studio, because they're going to say, what are you going to do? Sue us? Good luck, right? Good luck. Good luck on that. Let's do a couple more before we get into The Apprentice, because I want to discuss that. I do want to look here at Hoyt van Hoytema's Volvo spot. I have not watched this. People have said it's amazing. And I just want to say one thing as I get ready to pull this up. If you haven't seen it, I haven't seen it either. I've heard about it. It's got over like 10 million views or something. I saved this stuff to watch it with you. This is the first time. I don't want to watch the stuff early because then I end up not having the initial reaction I want to have when I watch it. That's why I come out when I do these things live all the time right after I watch a movie, because it's fresh. It's real. I'm not sitting on it for days and I lose the energy of what I just sat through. So here we go. By the one thing I want to say when I look at this tweet is it says the cinematographer for Interstellar and Inception. And I'm like, how about Ad Astra? Can we focus on Ad Astra? Can we do that? Even though I love it. Okay, Interstellar. Can't wait. Can't wait to see it in IMAX 70mm. We're coming up in a few weeks here. Like 2 weeks, I get to see it. Oh my God. Let's watch it. I've not seen this yet. I've heard it's amazing. Here we go.
Hey.
Hey. You okay?
Yeah. Well.
Hey, love.
Hey, Mom.
How are you guys? How you doing?
Yeah, we're good.
Something wrong?
No, but we've actually got something to tell you. Kate's pregnant.
Oh, I'm joking.
You're gonna be a grandma.
Oh my God. How does it feel?
I'm scared, Mom.
Why are you scared?
About it all, you know. The nights, the responsibility. We're gonna need a bigger place.
Help with all that.
I know. Bless you. You're so sweet. I've got this feeling that we're gonna have a daughter. Just as stubborn as her mum.
Oh, hopefully not. The family's knows.
Now that's a legacy she might have to live with. She might be the reason we tied a knot.
What if I don't do good in class?
I just want to say and do the right things, you know? I want to see the world with her. Also be happy staying home, doing nothing, letting her be a kid.
Are you awake?
Number 32.
Thank you.
I want to see her fall in love. But I also know what that means. And I know she's gonna bend the rules just like I did. And one day, I'll have to let her go. I'm excited to hear what she learns about the world, herself, what she adores, what she hates. I hope she likes the name you give her.
Have you thought of any?
It all depends. You like Leia.
Damn. That's better than most movies this year. Like maybe all of them. For a little under 4 minutes, the storytelling, the grounded, the emotion, humanity. Good Lord, Volvo just fucking killed it. That is a piece of art. And I think one of the best ads I've ever seen, because think about this. As you watch that, you're totally invested emotionally in what you're watching. The score's solid. Obviously, the imagery is fantastic. You'd expect that from Hoyt. But here's what I'll say is that then you get what ultimately, think about it from Volvo's perspective. They want to sell you a car that's safe. What do you think that just did? I mean, hello. Conversely, look at what Jaguar did this week, right? With that ad of what the fuck that was. I don't even know what that was. And I'm not even getting into the woke, anti-woke. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to tell you that's some shit advertising right there. Jaguar. And not only that, changing their logo to what the fuck is that font? Terrible. And then Volvo comes in and says, here's how you do it. And it makes Jaguar look even fucking dumber. Oh my God. How do these people have jobs at like Jaguar? Like, dude, okay, you're the ad director. Whoever that ad director is, listen, you can't, let me just say, and this is, I'm going to make sure this is 100% clear. And this is where Weber gets in trouble sometimes. People go, well, I don't know. You're going too far. You're like the anti-woke guy. You cannot have someone in charge of your business who's weird. You can't. You cannot have someone who's totally fucking weird in charge of your business or in charge of the advertising for your business. You can if it's a niche business, but if you're trying to sell to a bunch of people, you better not have some kind of niche person running the account. That's the thing. Whoever made this spot is not that. That person, like this person here, grounded, emotional, full of humanity. You cannot have these on the far fringe people running these things, man. I mean, listen, you can if you want to make a weird movie, but you're not trying to sell that to anybody. You're trying to sell a car. I didn't even think I wanted to go there with that, but that's what happens when we do this live. Because when you watch someone do it perfectly, classic commercial right there, and then you get Jaguar, I guarantee whoever called that shot, I haven't seen the person. I do not know. I honestly do not know. Guarantee you they have an agenda. This is no agenda. You know what this agenda is? Humanity. Do you see? That's what I'm looking for. I don't want a fucking agenda. Stop shoving an agenda down my throat. I told you guys when I sat through here, don't make me bring up here again. I got violent that night. You guys heard me. I got so angry when I had to sit through that shit where I'm being preached to. That scene was by far the most infuriating scene I have seen this year in any film. In here, I'm not getting into it again. I don't want to be preached to. Make it natural. Make it organic. And that's everything that commercial was. Well, exactly. I mean, Bud Light, same thing. You had a fringe person making decisions. I've said this before, and I know I don't care. For those of you, I know I have an audience that is of all kinds. And I'm going to just tell you, I don't care if I piss some of you off. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I've said it before. I'm going to make it quick, and then we're going to move on. We're going to do our evaluation of the Apprentice, which is perfect because we're going to go from literally hammering Dylan Mulvaney and then go into Donald Trump and praising Trump. Therefore, Weber's officially cemented his status as the right-wing Trumpian film guy. Here's what I'll tell you. As I go back to the Dylan Mulvaney and the Bud Light. Dylan Mulvaney has zero talent. Zero. Not funny. Not entertaining, not particularly good looking. Dylan Mulvaney is the last person you should pick to highlight anything, regardless of whether they are a man or a woman. You don't pick somebody because they are waving the flag of some fucking agenda. You pick somebody because they are great, they have something to bring to the table, and they're interesting, they're talented. That dude / girl, that's not honest to God, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it. That's not what this is about. No talent. Zero. Saddle your bag to someone who's talented, okay? It's not about trans. Guys, one of my favorite movies of the year is National Anthem. Has tons of trans actors in it. So don't come to me about that shit. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Do not saddle your fucking horse with the loser Dylan Mulvaney, who has nothing of interest to bring to anybody. I've never heard a single thing said that's interesting from that person. Not one thing. So why are you picking them? Unbelievable. Oh my God, Weber, you're the worst. Too bad. We're not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to slow down. I'm not going to abruptly change my views based on what someone expects of me. That's never going to happen. And if you go through life like that, you're in a bad place. Okay. So if it pissed someone off, so be it. I don't give a fuck. Do you think I'm gonna lose sleep over that? I'm not. It's time for the Apprentice evaluation. Now I know a lot of you probably have seen this already, and for me, I'm late in the whole mix here. This film came out back in October, and I just never got around to it. So it's time to talk about a film that I really like, and it's a shame people are not talking about this as a true awards film pretty much across the board. Let's do the MMT evaluation of the rise of Donald Trump in The Apprentice.
Yes.
Hello, this is Donald Trump from Mr. Cohn. Thank you so much.
Donald who?
Roy Cohn, nice to meet you.
Leroy Cohn, you're brutal.
Guilty as charged.
How do you always win?
There's rules. The first rule is attack, attack, attack.
It's going to be the finest building in the city, maybe the country, in the world.
Rule 2, admit nothing, deny everything.
There's never been anything like this, of this magnitude, this quality. Ooh, cheese balls over here.
What are you doing?
You want one?
No, it looks totally disgusting.
Cheese balls.
Rule 3, no matter what happens, you claim victory and never admit defeat. You have to be willing to do anything to anyone to win. You have a big ass. You got to work on that.
Your face looked like an orange.
Attack, attack, attack.
Deny everything.
Admit nothing. Never admit defeat.
What if you lost your fortune today?
Well, then maybe I'll run for president. I don't know.
I say, if you're indicted, you're invited.
And you see the energy. This film has so much of it. I love it. Almost feels like a documentary, right? The way this thing's shot. This is the same director who did The Mauritanian, which I know no one watched but me. I'm like the only person in the world who watched The Mauritanian at a drive-in because they were pushing that for awards a few years back. And Jodie Foster's very good in the film. Film's not great, but she's excellent in everything. But this director did that, and I like the style that he imparts on this thing. And one of the things that you notice throughout that entire 1 minute and 30 minute 1 minute and 30 second trailer, it's gritty 70s 80s New York City. He captures that, and it looks really much like you step back in a time capsule and I'm back in Times Square back in 1977, and then on to the 80s and Trump Tower. But the number one reason this film is so much better than I really expected it to be, I have never been impressed with Sebastian Stan, not that much, certainly not even in A Different Man this year. Go back and look at our evaluation of that. I think that this is by far his best performance, and it is one of the best performances of the year, regardless of whether he gets in or not. It has to happen. I mean, here's the point. It's one of the best performances. You have to find a spot for him in that 5 best actor. I don't give a shit if you have to kick someone out like Ray Fiennes, right? Go back and look at Conclave. You're getting a performance from Fiennes in that film that is solid. But it's typically what we get from him. What I want to do in any situation where I have to pick 5 of the best, I want to get someone in there who deserves it, certainly, because we're all about merit. We just talked about that. If you have to be merit based, otherwise, what are we doing? But I want to get someone in there in Sebastian Stan who might not be there again anytime soon. The reason this performance works so well is because he becomes Donald Trump. He has the mannerisms down, the way he talks with his mouth, and the way he just has he's got everything down to a science. And as you watch this, I start to believe I'm watching Trump. And I think that's the challenge for anybody who's going to inhabit the body of someone as infamous as Trump. As we go look at the Dylan film coming out here, Mangold film with Chalamet. I have my grave concerns about Chalamet. I have a feeling I'm going to see Chalamet, not Bob Dylan. Here, at first, of course, you're going to see Sebastian Stan. You're like, wait a second, there's a little bit of a wig. Then all of a sudden you go, okay, I see a young Trump as he ascends through this real estate empire in New York City with Cohn, his lawyer, helping him get through all these hurdles. And Cohn is played by Jeremy Strong, one of the best supporting performances and a big supporting performance, right? There's all sizes of supporting performances. This would be extra large. This is almost throughout the entire film. And Strong, while he was not good in Trial to Chicago 7 and not fantastic in Armageddon Time, here he's doing almost the same thing he's doing Armageddon Time, only it works here with the lawyer who's no nonsense, break the rules bastard. And that's where Trump learns all of his stuff, hence the title The Apprentice. So this film has so much going for it, a little long, although I understand why he wanted to include so much in this, because you got Ivanka, you've got all these things, his brother. So he does a real nice job of putting everything in here. And I think the other thing that I want to commend the assembly and direction of this in the overall storytelling is that it doesn't veer too far into a smear piece or to a fluff piece, right? It kind of rides the middle. I go back and I look at a film that I feel very similarly about is Bombshell, which is the Fox News, right? Remember that one from a few years ago? Same kind of thing with that film. Even though it's skewering Fox News at times, it still isn't into parody. So it straddles the line. And I think this film does that as well, which I know for some people, like I've read some articles lately, like, how do you make Donald Trump disappear from all of my screens? I'm like, my God, you guys are fragile. You're so fragile. Even if someone was in charge that I totally hated, and let's just say I hate Trump, okay? I don't need to have a world where I don't see a picture of Trump or I'll be triggered. That's the thing about this generation too, right? You go back and you look at these kids, these Gen Z, they can't handle shit. There's that viral video going around right now of that woman who gets in an accident, and she's like 24-year-old, I should say, whatever. She's a woman. And she goes off like yelling and losing her mind because her whole life has been her whining, kicking her feet, saying, I am not going to do it. And her parents reinforced it. And now that real world consequences have kicked in, she is completely incapable of handling it. And that is wild to me that people are like, how do you get rid of Trump's picture? Because I might have a meltdown. I'm like, dude, first of all, if your whole life is that tied into something, you don't have much of a life. Okay. You know, unless you're Harris, you really shouldn't want to have Trump's picture gone. Unless you've personally had something terrible happen to you, why are you letting this person invade your space, and to the point where if I see a picture of them, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to rip my hair out. The screaming liberal meme we've all seen. Okay. I told you guys, I'm not liberal or conservative. I'm right in the middle. Okay. Call me libertarian. But I do lean certain ways. Of course, I'm going to do that because it's ultimately about what I believe to be the correct path, period. We've talked about immigration. We cannot have a completely unmitigated immigration policy. We can't. Okay. I'm not going to get into it tonight. That makes me right wing, right? But then I turn around and tell you that I have no problem with trans, no problem with gay. I was just in West Hollywood. We hanging out at Mickey's, which is the gayest bar in all of West Hollywood, one of them for sure. And I don't have a problem being there. It's fine. Everything's good because I am not that kind of person where I can fit in anywhere. And I think that's the key to anyone succeeding in life. You don't want to veer too far to the extremes, but ultimately you have to pick a side. And I think that there's a lot of people who have lost their way, making something that really shouldn't be that big of a deal a much bigger deal in their lives. Okay. So try to find some context and try to figure out without, losing your mind over this shit. MMT scores 90%. It's one of my more entertaining films of the year for me. And Stan's one of the best performances along with Strong. The two of them need to be recognized somewhere at a Critics Awards. I don't know if it's going to be Globes. Maybe they could put Apprentice as a comedy, and hopefully they get Stan in there because he deserves it. The problem this film has, and it's a real big issue, is that it is, first of all, it's Trump. I just went over the whole reasons why people are like, I don't want to see Trump, so they don't even want to talk about this movie, which is weird, but let them do their thing. is it's Briarcliff Entertainment. Briarcliff Entertainment is not a studio that is going to be able to easily slam someone into award season, right? When you look at an A24, when you look at a Neon, when you look at a Focus, some of the smaller, even the Focus is a universal umbrella. A24 certainly has its shit together. They still are at a level where they can, if they have The Apprentice, they can get it in the conversation. I'm a little bit dismayed that a Neon or even a Netflix didn't try to buy this film. Now, I'm glad that they didn't because I got to see it. I would have seen it theatrical. At least it was offered theatrically. I saw it on a link, but it is what it is. But here's the thing, is that Briarcliff is going to have a very, very difficult time getting this into the conversation because of the fact that they don't have the money for all the FYC ads, all the events. They did have an event at CAA recently. I know I get a lot of those invites. In fact, I just was there the other day. I know Weber gets invited to things. I don't go often. I get invited a lot because I've told you guys my DMs are full of people. I have plenty of people and contacts in this town, and that's what pisses off the film Twitter people more and more. They go, man, Weber, we really hate him for whatever reason. Oh, because he just went off on Dylan Mulvaney. But he also seems to have all these contacts, which is weird because why would he if no one takes him seriously? Oh, well, there's the problem. You see, you just said something that's completely erroneous. People do take me seriously, and that's the problem. So, and I know it's a problem for you, but let me help you get over that. Move on, or just admit that we are the gold standard. I mean, it's one of the, you take your choice. I don't really care which one you want. I would prefer you just admit we're the gold standard, and then you can move on. But if you don't want to, that's your deal. Certainly you throwing your, pounding the ground like the person who doesn't want to see the picture of Trump anytime soon. A couple comments on this, and we'll get to our cinema champion of the week. It's Movie. Couple comments on the Apprentice. Anything we've got, let's do it. Same distributor picked up Magazine Dreams. That's correct, Luis. Good call. That's the Jonathan Majors model turned violent, wants to make it in Hollywood thing. I can't wait to see that movie. So Briarcliff has had some theatrical films, but again, they're a very small distributor. But you're correct. That's a great notice on that, Luis. This is why we have the smartest people. We have the smartest people to watch. Let's do this. MMT Cinema Champion this week is Mubi. Why? Because of The Apprentice. The Apprentice. Oh my God. The Substance. It's the something. It has an E in the end. The Substance is now up to or around $70 million on the worldwide box office because Mubi bought this film. And Mubi put it in theaters. Mubi gave us the #1 movie of 2024, according to MMT. It'll take a hellacious effort from some film out of nowhere to knock The Substance out of the #1 film of the year. And it now is at 70 million worldwide. And they are our cinema champion for owning this film, buying this film from Universal. So apparently, I remember when I was slotting Awards Ace way back last year, and I saw The Substance, and I knew that it was getting some buzz to me more. I had an idea what the movie is about. And then I saw it was Universal. So when I list things on Ace, I typically put the studio, especially under picture, I put the studio and I had Universal. Then as the movie came out, it said Mubi. I'm like, what happened? Well, apparently Universal had it and they wanted cuts. Clearly, if you've seen the movie, it's a wild fucking movie. And I understand what Universal was thinking. Like, this is too far. I get it. But I want to give the director here a lot of credit. Coralie Farga, I think is how you say it. Or Fargo. And she said, I'm going to take it and try to get it someone else to buy it. Universal said, we'll let you do that. And so Mubi bought it. And now here we are. 70 million worldwide. And what if this thing gets a Best Picture? What if? I would be thrilled. It's the best film of the year. Okay. I know it's a little bit concerning when you look at the script that's with the movie that was out there before that has a lot of parallels to this. But I want to put that aside, and I want to just say, as a cinema experience this year, no film knocked me and had my jaw literally cliche on the floor like The Substance. So again, thank you for giving me this in a theater movie. You are a cinema champion of the week. Open comments for a couple minutes before we get into our next Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. Yeah, listen, but you know, the haters do hate. I can't stop them. I don't know why. I think someone actually said this, and I think, you know, listen, I understand. I'm just gonna say this as gently as I can. Um, the haters hate because they know that they can't be who you are. And I know that sounds in a way egotistical. I totally get it, but let me explain something to you. The problem with the hater is, you've heard the man in the arena. The hater's never been in the arena. The hater doesn't know what it's like to go into battle and to say some of the things I say, both here and on X/Twitter. Some of the things that I put out there that are like way out there for a lot of people, they don't have the fucking balls to do it, nor do they have the credibility. So, and the reason they don't have the credibility is because they don't have the balls. They don't understand that, right? The two things go together. So, if you don't have those things, you're going to dislike somebody who has those things because it shines a light upon your weakness that much more. So, all I can say to you is just know that my fuel is provided by the haters. So, I can just tell you this: tomorrow I'll be at the gym killing it, and I'll be doing a stream again later this week and another one, and I'll keep going because we do it live, and you don't have the balls to do this. And not only do you not have the balls to do this, you can't do it because you don't have the fucking talent. That makes you completely and utterly minimal to me. So don't worry about it. It's all good. Haters, just know that I feed on your tears, literally sustain me. Let's go and do the MMT evaluation here tonight. It is Weber's always got to get all serious with it. But the thing is, it's weird. I've had people come in the comments here and say like personal shit. I go, first of all, you're fucked in the head if you're doing that shit. There's something deeply wrong with you, and I can't help you, but just know something, that when karma comes around to get you, and karma will come around and get you, you're fucked, man. You're fucked. Listen, people say, well, you're personal. You said this about Gore, that he drinks too much. He drinks too much. He had medical issues because he drank too much. It's one of the issues. I'm allowed to say that. That's looking out for somebody. That's looking out for somebody. It doesn't make me bad. I didn't say anything about his family. So don't you guys got to understand. You don't play bullshit with me. Come here with legitimate stuff. Don't come in here. That's not legit. Me saying that, me bringing up someone's drinking problems. You should listen. If you have a drinking problem, you have a drinking problem. I can't help that. I don't have a drinking problem. You hear anyone talking about me having a drinking problem? I had one in college. I was a fucking alcoholic in college. I was blackout drunk all the time at the Ohio State University. All the time. Ask my fraternity brothers. All the time. So I've been there. I'm not anymore. Have I had a beer? Come on, guys. It was just at Mickey's. I had 2 Miller Lights. Whoa, wow. Well, that's a lot over like the course of 2 hours. Let's get ready. It's time for the next. Yeah, exactly, Raynell. They just, the thing is why? I don't understand hate. Why do you hate? Because you know why? Because they don't, it goes back. I told you about Greg Plitt. He's a fantastic, go watch some Greg Plitt videos, Plitt's on YouTube. He's a fitness guy. He talked about how when you succeed, when you're doing things, the haters will hate you more because it shines a light on everything they're not, and they can't stand it. They can't stand the fact that they know that they haven't done all the things you have because they never even tried. Right? You can never lose in life if you don't at least try. Put effort into it. Listen, look, script. I think it's great. I think it's going to sell. I think it's fantastic. We got in the hands of the person. Here's what I'm going to tell you. It's still a win, even if it doesn't happen, because the win is the creation, right? The win is doing it. The win is creating MMT. I don't care if it has views. Clearly, I don't, because I don't even try to monetize it anymore, because I play songs and videos and all kinds of shit that gets me demonetized. I don't care. Do you see the other guys doing that? No, because they're afraid they're going to get hit with a strike, which means you can't monetize your videos. I don't do this for that. I do it because I enjoy it. It's a side hobby. It's fun. It's enjoyable. Let's watch Flow. Here comes the trailer. This is an animated film that has a shot to get into the best animated race. I'll tell you if it really has a chance or not. Here comes the trailer for the new animated Flow. And I'll pause. Here's the thing. So you can see everything from that minute or so that we showed. This is like a Nat Geo animated film. It's shown through the eyes of the cat that you see on your screen as this great calamity befalls planet Earth. I think it was the last time we had a reset. You guys want me to get into the reset here tonight? I'll talk a little about that. Might as well, because I think this film, it's perfect dovetail into a little bit of MMT Gets Freaky, just a little bit, because I want to talk about it, because this film is another foreshadowing of that. I think the thing that this film does have that you see throughout the trailer, there's some gorgeous landscapes, and it takes you on this journey of the cat and all of the animals on the boat as they try to survive the Great Reset. But here's the problem. It's only an hour and 20 minutes long. That's not the problem. It should have been a short. I mean, when I'm bored, like 20, 30 minutes into the movie, and there's still like 50 minutes to go, watch out. It's very repetitive, right? The cat, as he makes his way with the boat, then the dogs chase the cat, and they get on the boat, and then the tapir jumps on the boat, and then there's a lemur, and then he jumps off, and then they get on. It's just, that's the movie, right? And I understand that's what the director's trying to do here, but it should have been a short, right? 20, 30 minutes max, not an hour 20. So you really feel the runtime here. And I think the other thing that I really want to talk about here is, and this is very important that we discuss this. And listen, it's funny that we talk about how we can use cinema as the vehicle to discuss other things. This film, very much like The Wild Robot, has a lot of foreshadowing of the end times. Now, let me tell you, and I know we've talked about this on MMT quite a bit. This is what you get from no one else, by the way. Whenever I bring up something and show you that we might be on the last hour of the last day here on this planet. Now, listen, I understand why you don't want to discuss this, but I'm going to show you just as I do this. I have to show you, because every time I show this, people, I always want to get someone to tell me, what is this? Gone Girl's like, oh God, we got to watch this again. Yes, you're going to have to watch again. Every day in Alaska, if it's a clear day, you can pop up this FAA cam and watch what you see in the sky. You guys see that? Let me turn on the music. Every time the music, I don't need the music. What you have is clearly a planetary object rotating around. Now, here's the theory. Okay, let's go back and let's tie it back into, we're going to tie it back into the movie here tonight. The theory is this, and I know, listen, this is like, I sound like Joe Rogan saying that dragons are real. Who told you dragons were real before Joe Rogan? Well, that's right, I did, because I watched Mud Fossil University, and we've talked about how the dragon in Morocco, right? I showed you it. I think you see it. You understand. Here's what I'll tell you. Real quickly, let me get the grade on flow, 75%. It just, again, should have been a short. But here, as I talk about what we're discussing here, this is the theory. Every X hundred/thousand of years, we'll call it thousands in this case, there is essentially a great disaster that, imagine the world being an Etch-a-Sketch. And as you write out your thing, as you rip the Etch-a-Sketch out, then you reset it, you're doing a new drawing. That is what the Earth is. You build, erase, start from scratch, back to the Stone Age, build. Okay? Think about it for a second. I know that it's a wild concept if you've never explored it, but I'm telling you, having done some research and telling you that I'm a big time person about looking at all the angles, I'm here to tell you there's a lot of validity in the theory that there is something that happens every X amount of years to this planet, and essentially we are reset. Okay, not from the reset from the elites. That's kind of their code, right? If you look at it that way, the reset is the code of, we're going to try to rebuild society in a different way when there is the Etch-a-Sketch reset. Okay, but here's what I'm going to tell you. This movie shows you the flood, shows you the world completely covered in water, just like Wild Robot does. They, in a way, I do believe, and I know this is like, for a lot of people like Hollywood, they go, wait a second. Have you looked into the fact that Hollywood likes to show you what the future is? Okay. And it may look crazy to you, but ultimately it will come to fruition, and it's their way of kind of like, knowing, like letting you see it. They have to, if you look at it that way. I know what I'm saying is nuts to a lot of you. I get it. But you have to understand, when you've done the rabbit hole, you've gone down, you've looked at all the stuff, I'm here to tell you that there is something happening. I am 100% certain there is something happening, and I don't know what it is. I cannot put a finger on it. I don't have those answers. If I did, then they wouldn't even let me broadcast on YouTube. Or next, it'd be gone. Even Elon would shut me down. Here's what I'll tell you. They don't want you to talk about it because obviously it's going to jeopardize the world they've created. Because if all of a sudden something happens and we are set back to a different kind of lifestyle, it's going to change everything. I'm just going to tell you, I'm of the firm belief that at some point in the nearest future, something's going to happen. It's not going to be good. And it's not going to be something man-made. It's going to be something nature. This being called climate change, fine. I'm here to tell you that's code for something far worse. That's what I'm going to tell you. I can't promise you this. That's not my, I can't, again, once you've gone down all the rabbit holes I've gone, the only answer is something's on the way. Something's coming. Something bad's coming. I know it is. I just don't know when. And I don't want to know, right? I think a lot of people are talking about, well, if it were Revelation, would you want to know? No, because here's the thing. Even right now, I'm on a stream. We're talking. We're doing our thing. MMT, Sunday Evening Spectacular. What can I do? If let's just say that something terrible is going to happen tomorrow. What can I do? I can't do anything about it. I mean, if something's going to completely reshape the globe, how can I'm just going to, what's going to happen? We're going to be doing something all of a sudden. It's like, holy fuck, there it is. And you remember Weber was talking about this. That's it. That's the end. Like literally an earthquake that's not even a 9, like a 20 on the Richter scale. Shit's just bouncing around and you're hitting the ceiling like turbulence. That's when you know, I think it's over. Well, just what are you going to do at that point? You're just going to go, c'est la vie. It's over. It was a nice life. I always say don't have any regrets. And I don't. I have none. 0 regrets. Because if you do, that's the problem. If something were to happen right now, I would say I have no regrets. What's the regret? I lived a good life. I'm happy. I'm good. So, I mean, what else do you want? Open comments here. I know. I'm sorry we had to go dark. Steve, I don't, the thing is, I don't want to discuss this stuff. Like, it's not like I feel like I get some kind of joy from telling you that things are going to get terrible, but I feel like it's weird having a feeling that something's going to happen and you don't tell anybody. I'd rather just say I have a really bad feeling and it's going to happen. I just don't know when, and at least see if anyone else feels what I'm talking about. Because here's what I'm also going to tell you. And this is again going to go right-wing Weber, which is not the case, but I'm going to explain it to you. Why would you purposely flood countries around the world with people from other countries? Why would you purposely try to collapse? Because that's what's basically happening, right? We can all agree. Why would you purposely try to collapse everything? Well, here's what I'll tell you. If you look at it from the standpoint of someone knowing some shit's going down and it's going to get bad, why do you care? It's almost like a sick game, right? Think of it this way. If you know that in a week, shit's going to go sideways and everything's going to go to hell, are you going to live the same life tomorrow that you would if you knew that? Of course not. So if you are tasked with knowing that something's coming, then maybe you don't care anymore, right? I've said this before in a relationship. You've been in a relationship with somebody and all of a sudden, we're done. I'm not going to be going out with this person anymore. It's over. Do you give a shit anymore? Do you care? No, that's what happens. Look at The Apprentice. Go back and watch this film. When you watch it, you'll see when he all of a sudden Trump's like, I'm done with Ivanka. I'm done with, was that his, shit, is that his daughter or is that his wife? Whoever the first wife was, not Ivanka, whatever. He's done. And that's what I'm saying. When the relationship's over, it's over. Now we've tied Trump into the end of the world, which is actually perfect. Thank you, Sully. This is perfect. And this is, by the way, this is Gone Girl for like, stop going off on the end of the world. Expectations for Moana 2. I'm down to Disney lately and always go to the theater with an open mind. Hearing it's a TV show they stitched together into a movie doesn't give me high hopes. Sully, I have a confession to make. This is going to be a difficult one, and I know I'm going to get judged harshly for this. I have never watched Moana. So I have 0 interest in watching Moana 2. Now, I think what I'll probably do is I probably need to see Moana 2 because now that I'm doing a box office show and we're talking about these things, I probably should see it. But here's the thing. Here's my homework for Moana 2. The Wikipedia entry for Moana. That's. I mean, I might as let's just real quickly. Just one more time on Planet X before we get there. It goes. Do you see it moving? There it is. It's rotating. That motherfucker's here, and it's here to get us. It's either Nibiru or Wormwood. I don't know which one, but it's definitely the end of the world. All right. That's what you guys get. You literally get that, and then me going to look at the Moana Wikipedia page to see if I can get an idea of what this movie is. Let me just read the synopsis real quickly to it. Thank you. It is a save one. You watched it 2 nights ago. I'm not even going to do that. I'm not doing it, Sully. I won't watch it. You're asking too much of me. Let me just get to the real quick plot. It's really long. Holy shit. Is there like a Cliff Notes edition? Hold on. Let's see. Let me just go to the top here. The film is set in an ancient Polynesia and tells the story of Moana, a strong-willed daughter of a chief of a coastal village who is chosen by the ocean itself to reunite a mystical relic with the goddess Te Fiti. When a blight strikes her island, Moana sets sail in search of Maui, a legendary demigod, in hopes of returning the relic to Te Fiti and saving her people. The plot is original, but takes inspiration from Polynesian myths. That's all I need. Is that not all I need for this? That Wikipedia condensed synopsis. By the way, I want to say that synopsis is still shorter than any Film Threat synopsis. Even if I read the entire plot, you see this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs of plot. That's still shorter than the average Film Threat film synopsis as they get into the reviews. Oh no, Weber's hammering Film Threat again. Thank you, Nomus. That was one of my favorite ever. That's my best burn ever on MMT in the history of this channel. We've had some good ones. That's the best. I don't want to listen to how far I've heard that song. How could I miss it? I had to sit through the Oscars and then I don't want to watch this movie. Planet X is a water droplet. What? No, it's not, Adam. Fine, real quick. I'm going to go back and show you another, because here's the thing. It's not just one. It's not one or two. It's multiple of these. Back to this real quick. This is one. Okay, let me go down. Hold on. There's another day. Let's go back up here. Okay, here's another day. Okay, this is 24 seconds slow. Watch. So this is a 20. Look. That's not a water droplet. Why does a water droplet have a hack? And by the way, here's the thing about the water droplet. If you say it's that, it's rotating. You see what I mean? Look, it's weird because it's like we can't see it. It's like almost like through a lens. There's something blocking it. I can't explain. Don't ask me to explain what it is. I'm just telling you that this thing shows up on the FAA weather cam almost every day. So just know that. And it's rotating. Do you see? Look, watch the line. Watch it move. It's moving. It's rotating. So it's not like it's steady. It's totally rotating. No, it's not. Vader Monkey, it's not. It's not, because it's there every day. Why is it there in the same spot going across the sky? Why? Right? I told you guys. I mean, why do I have to do... Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Give me a second. Where is my... Let's see. Let's go. This is live. I'll show you real quick. So everyone thinks it's... Okay, this is live. This is what it looks. Okay, there it is live from like a couple hours ago. Do you guys see that? So right here is where it shows up every day. Now, right now it's gone. It only shows up for a few hours. So it's like visible for a while, then it disappears. I can't explain it. I don't know what to tell you. It's almost like a veil lifts and there it is, and then it goes away. But this is the webcam right here. And if you just go search, it's Larson Bay. I'll put it in there. If you guys want to go, you guys go look. It's Larson Bay. If you ever want to go look, you guys go look. All right, couple more comments. We're over an hour, so you're on borrowed time at this point, guys. Any super chats, anything like that, Garngirl, give them to me. Otherwise, we're out of here. Hold on, real quick. I believe if you track it over time, I believe you'll be able to see the change in flight path. Listen, Vader. I know you're a huge. I just don't. I'm sorry. I think it's something. I do. I will say that I'm not 100% certain, but I'm 99.8. Okay, that's pretty high. It's pretty high. So maybe. Any other super chats here tonight? I want to talk about what's coming up this week. We have Moana 2. I'll go see it. I mean, Sully, I read the Wikipedia. I think I'm good. I'll watch it because it's Thanksgiving. I got nothing else going on. I will go do that. Typically, you watch football or whatever. I'll go see Moana, and I'll not be happy, but I'll watch it somewhere where I can sit in a recliner and go, why am I doing this to myself? And I'm also going to go see Queer, which, by the way, there he goes. Weber, how can you go see a movie called Queer? I'm going to go see Queer with Daniel Craig. That's coming up this week, too. Opens here in Burbank. I don't know if it's wide. I think it's one of those platform releases. So that's what's coming up this week. We'll probably do Queer and Moana as a 1-2 weird combination coming up on Thanksgiving night is my guess, because I think I'll see Queer before that, but we'll just stack them and we'll sandwich them for Thanksgiving. A little after your feast, we'll have a little celebration here on MMT. The power of the pyramid pieces, the veil to reveal the Phantom Planet, Alka-Seltzer. I don't know. I don't know what these things are. I can't tell you. I'm just here to tell you that some weird shit's happening. Some weird shit's happening. Lastly, this is all I'm going to show you. I'll show you one more thing. I showed this before. I'm going to do it again. Thank you, Vader Monkey. I listen. I don't have a problem debating some of this stuff. It's fine. This is what I'll leave you with, and this is what I say when I'm scared. Okay, so there's a great guy on Twitter you need to follow /X called Ethical Skeptic. Okay, Ethical Skeptic. Look him up. He's been very good about a lot of things, but one of the theories he has is that every X thousand of years, hundreds of years, whatever, probably thousands, there is a thermal uncoupling of the crust from the mantle, whatever, something like that. Okay, so essentially the ground comes apart and shifts, so everything gets fucked up, and that's going back to flow, the initial flood. This is when you look at the pyramid, right? Do you see how high? So people are wondering, why is the pyramid, why does it have so many different layers? Because there was water all the way up to the line. And then the line you see in the middle is where the waves were hitting, because the ocean was up to the pyramid. So the pyramid, the reason the pyramid is what it is that it's essentially a warning to you that if shit floods again, it's going to get that high. And if water gets that high there, where it's now a desert, it goes back to what we talked about, this thermal uncoupling, that the lands move. So everywhere, like we're in California now, California could go underwater. And then part of what's outside of California comes up, right? So you've seen that in earthquake where water, the land will go up or down, right? So that's the theory. Okay. I understand that it's crazy, but yes, exactly, Tom. Exactly. All right. That was a fun show. What a weird show. We run the weirdest show certainly anywhere, but we are very proud of flying the freak flag all the time here on MMT because we have no holds barred. We will not stop. And I didn't even bring up the whole electric car thing. We'll do that another time. I did that today on X. I don't want to do it tonight. I'm not in the mood. I already sent it out. Check my X. We'll talk about it another time. I'm done. Long stream, perfect stream, great stream. Thank you guys as always. Well, it's not great, but it's fine. It is what it is. Thanks for being here live as always. A pleasure being your humble cinematic servant as we get ready to wrap here. And I tell you that we're back this week with Moana 2. Good luck to me. And Queer to show the range of MMT later this week. Until then, peace out. Live from LA. See you next time.